Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Holy Jesus. What is that?
It's time to get in the game.
Do you know what time it is?
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis.
To me, you are nothing.
Your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Come on, start it up. Let's go.
Catch us Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, as we get ready to take you through the prime time topics in sports, not only just in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Hope everybody is having a great Friday Eve, as we say here today. It's Thursday. Week 11 is about to kick off in the NFL. We've got college football this weekend. We've got high school football playoffs. Some starting tonight, some starting tomorrow night, and we'll get the play-by-play man for La Vega football on here in just a second, and we're going to talk some La Vega football. Hope everybody's doing okay. Want to thank you guys for tuning in with me so far today. Today on the lineup, like I said, we're going to talk some La Vega football. We're going to talk some NBA later on in hour number 2. We'll have Quay call in with me, and we'll chop it up about some NBA. Definitely have to talk about the game tonight. Another good Thursday night football game with the Commanders versus the Eagles. We've got NBA is in full effect right now, as we're about 11 games into the season. Don't have many NBA games on tonight, only the Mavs and Jazz, so I know everybody will be watching that Eagles and Commanders game. Want to thank everybody for watching with us so far, not only today, but this entire week here on Centex Sports Network. Also listening on Infinity Sports Radio Central Texas as well. Want to thank you guys. As always, go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. As always, on Centex Sports Network /Centex Sports TV. Or you can download the app on your mobile device, Centex Sports 1 on your mobile device, and you'll be able to listen on there, whether you're at your house, at your car, on the way to work, coming back from work. Appreciate you guys' support as always. So, folks, like we said, today on the show, we'll talk some La Vega football in just a second. We've got a really good slate of important games in not only high school football, but in college football as well. Tennessee versus Georgia is going to be a huge game this weekend that could potentially determine who is going to win in that SEC. We've got, like I said, high school football playoffs starting this weekend. We have plenty of teams from the Central Texas area competing in the playoffs as of right now. La Vega being one of them. They'll be in Pflugerville tomorrow night. Midway will be out there in the playoffs as well. University, one of the surprise teams as far as how good they were this year. For some people, a lot of people weren't surprised by this University team at all. I'm one of them that wasn't. Coach K'Ron Johnson has done a phenomenal job out there at University rebuilding that program. They've got talent all over the place. They've got one of the top recruits in the nation in London Smith, one of the top recruits in Texas for sure in London Smith. They've got a young QB, Savoy Nichols, that's been making some noise. They got a double-headed running attack. And J.D. Bell, Ladarius Evans out there as well. So they've got a slew of good players. Also this weekend, we've got some MCC basketball going to be taking place this weekend. MCC basketball, MCC right now, the women's team is ranked in the nation. The men's team also doing well. Coach Gill just got honored the other day, got his 700 win in his career. An amazing accomplishment, Coach Gill. Most definitely a legend, and they've got a good team out there at MCC. The women's team, like I said, ranked number 13 under Coach Candace Thomas, who was just inducted in the Hall of Fame at Prairie View A&M University last week, I believe. They've got she was part of that team that was the first team in Prairie View A&M women's basketball history to win a conference title. Now she's coaching the MCC. Last year she won conference. Had an 11-2 record in conference play. Was undefeated at home, I believe. Right now they've started off great playing at home so far this year. They're undefeated. They'll be in action. They're traveling out to Lufkin, Texas. Lufkin, Texas, well, they'll be playing in the tournament. Starts tomorrow. They'll be at 6 o'clock. That'll be right here on Centex Sports Network. Also, they play on Saturday at noon. That'll be on Centex Sports Network. And the men's team will tip off at 3 o'clock. That will also be right here on Centex Sports Network as well. So make sure you guys are getting ready for that. Make sure you're ready to tune in for to that and for that game on Friday and Saturday. Folks, joining us here today, we have got the play-by-play man for La Vega High School football, who's always joining here with me on Thursdays, Mr. Said Igahar. Said, what's going on?
Hey, doing good, Jalen. Am I coming in clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're coming in clear on here. Said, we just got done kind of propped up La Vega a little bit, talking a little bit about some La Vega football and their matchup they've got coming up tomorrow to start the playoff campaign. Before we talk about the game tomorrow. Can you tell us just a little bit about, what can we expect out of this La Vega team? You've got to see them up close and personal all year long. You've had your ear to the streets. You've been talking to Coach Hyde every single week, and you've got a chance, like I said, to see these kids right up close and personal. What can we expect out of this La Vega team as they start their playoff campaign tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the main thing that we can expect to see is a lot of points on the scoreboard. This La Vega offense has gotten more and more explosive every week. We saw that they averaged, 34 points in district play, and that's against some very good competition because, there's really not any pushovers in the district they play in with China Spring and Gatesville and Conley and Robinson. So I expect to see a lot of points on the board from La Vega's offense. The thing that has gotten better and better each week is the play of La Vega's defense. They become more and more disciplined, and I don't know how Coach Hyde is doing this. I don't think I've ever seen a defense be so aggressive but still play assignment football, and they do a really good job at that. You're not going to fool them with a lot of misdirections, and you're not going to have – most teams don't have the speed to turn the corner, to get around the contain that the La Vega defensive ends have been able to use all, especially since district play. J.C. Wiley and Warren Richardson Jr. just outstanding job of setting the edge. So those are the two things that I expect to see tomorrow night when they play LaGrange.
Yeah, like I said, you got a chance to watch these guys all year long. You brought up that defense, man. This defense has improved each week, but really, really in district play, these guys take it to another level. And we're going to talk about the weapons they got on offense out there, but talk a little bit about the grit that this defense brings and then just their improvement over the year. I mean, we watched them play against the West Orange Stark, and we watched them play against Stephenville and some of these other teams that have explosive offenses. And this team took that experience that they got against those teams, and they've built on it and built on it and built on it and got to this point that they are now. Talk a little bit about the defensive side of football for La Vega.
Yeah, and I think the group that doesn't get enough recognition is their secondary. La Vega plays a ton of man-to-man defense. You got kids like Marquay Willis, Elbert Jones, Amir Gibson, Antoine Good. They play these guys head up, and because their man-to-man defense is so tight, then it's difficult for quarterbacks to find time to have a man break open, because these kids are they have a lot of speed on this defense. And so, with these guys, basically locking receivers down man-to-man, one-on-one, then the quarterback doesn't have a lot of time. So now you can send in Gigante Thomas on the blitz. You can send in, Caden Rowland on the blitz. You can send in, Craig Bradley, because of the sticky man-to-man defense that the La Vega secondary plays.
Yeah, man, that's a great point. They do play a lot of man. And that's helped them be able to get to this passer as well. I mean, they're going to man up as you're looking to try to find the guy that's going to get open playing against this really good DB squad. You got some of the guys you just named in that front seven coming right after him. So this La Vega defense has really stepped up and has played great, especially in the back half of this season. So La Vega's coming into this game 7-3. They're taking on LaGrange. They're playing in Pflugerville, neutral site, playing LaGrange, who's a 6-4 football team. Talk a little bit about what we can expect to see in this matchup tomorrow that La Vega has taken on LaGrange to start the playoffs.
Well, LaGrange is coming into this by-district round as the fourth-place team in their district. Of course, La Vega is number one. So I think just that dynamic alone, I think, gives La Vega a little bit of an edge. But with it being the playoffs, you know how it is. It's one and done. It's just not baseball where there's a series. So anybody can get got. And I know for a fact that Coach Howell is going to have his guys focused and ready to move on. But LaGrange is they're in the second year under Coach Kyle Cooper. They also made the playoffs last year where they lost to Madisonville in by district, and that game was 55-7. When LaGrange has their offense rolling, they put up a lot of points. They're averaging like 37 points a game, this year over the whole season, but they're also giving up 41 points a game. So if LaGrange can get their offense on track, this game has the potential of being a shootout. I don't fully anticipate that that's going to happen because of the way La Vega's defense has been playing lately. Mm-hmm. But LaGrange has some kids on offense that, you have to pay attention to. And, if you let those guys get rolling, this could turn into a track meet.
Yeah, I'm expecting this La Vega offense to go out there and get rolling pretty early. And like you said, it's going to be up to their defense to kind of dictate that pace and see if La Vega's defense can come out and come and get some stops. So, folks, like we said, La Vega football, that's going to be tomorrow right here on the radio, 94.5 FM, also on Infinity Sports Radio, Central Texas. Sedat will be out there, and him and Roy will take us through that game. We've got some really good matchups in this Central Texas area as far as the playoffs starting. Any that catch your eye, said, outside of this La Vega one, we know we've got other teams just in that District 12 in 4A Division 2, like Robinson taking on a 7-3 Sealy team. I think that's going to be a good game. You got Conley taking on Belleville out there in Bryan. I think that's going to be a really good game. Any games out of these Central Texas teams that really catching your eye going into Friday night?
Yeah, and I've been kind of really focused on District 12. Conley and Belleville, that game is tonight. In Bryan at 7:00. And that Conley team, they're a scrappy bunch, and we know they have some dynamic players on their offense, Ford and Vincent. So, the Cadets, they're a team that can kind of, if they can get that offense rolling early, that's definitely a game that they can win. Really kind of interested to see the Gatesville-Madisonville game. That's going to be in Rockdale tomorrow night. Gatesville is a team that wants to slow you down. Madisonville is a team that wants to hang 50 on you. So it'd be interesting to see if they can get, Rashawn Smith, rolling and use that ball control to limit Madisonville's offensive possessions. Very interesting to see how that game is going to come out, because I think if they're able to impose their will on Madisonville, in terms of slowing them down, that's a game that Gainesville could very, very well win.
No, for sure, for sure. If Rayshawn Smith out there in Gatesville, he finishes a top 3 rusher in the Central Texas area to 1,300 yards in the season, 18 touchdowns. Want to talk about one of the other top 5 rushers in the Central Texas area, going back to La Vega for a quick second, and Bryson Rowland. This is his last year here, 4-year starter for this team, going down in the history books. I mean, when you look at, I was I think the other day just going through some La Vega history and going there to see some of those people that own some of their records. Bryson Rowland's name is all over those record books when you talk about La Vega's football history, and they've got a tremendous football history in that program for decades now. Bryson Rowland's name is all in those history books. He finished this year with 1,239 rushing yards, 22 touchdowns. Also added in a good amount of receiving yards as well, and really turned into more of a dual threat, in my opinion, this season. He was used a lot in the passing game, and something he kind of hadn't been used a lot of in the past. And this season, he kind of stepped up to be that 3-down back. He can be out there any play, every play, and he made a lot of plays in the passing game as well. Talk a little bit about Bryson Rowland and what you've been able to see from his leadership as he is. I mean, I guess the old guy on his team. He's been a 4-year starter for them. I know a lot of people feel like, man, is this guy ever going to graduate? But he started as a freshman. That's why it feels like that. He's been out on the field for 4 years now. Talk a little bit about Bryson Rowland and his leadership, what he brings to this La Vega team.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring up the word leadership. That was something that came up when I spoke to Coach Hyde. Coach Hyde made the point, and you'll hear this interview in our pregame show, 7 o'clock, tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But, Coach Hyde said, it's not the coaches that lead the team. It's the players that lead the team. And Bryson Rowland is definitely one of those leaders on that team. You watch his body language, throughout the game, whether they're winning or whether they're losing. He's always the same guy, head held up high. Every time he hits the field, he's going to play 100%. He runs hard. He's exceptional vision. He's so quick that he can make those cutbacks. That there's been numerous times I can't even. I don't have enough fingers and toes to count the times this season that I've seen Bryson Rowland turn nothing into something. He's just that dynamic of a player. But and that his leadership is important because they do have a handful of sophomores that start. Caden Rowland, the leading tackler on defense, he's a sophomore. Yeah. Courtney Paul, their quarterback, he's a sophomore. I mentioned Craig Bradley, he's a sophomore. So they have J.C. Watt is a sophomore. So they have a lot of sophomores that start on this team. And so when they can turn to a guy like Bryson Rowland, when they can turn to a guy like Warren Richardson Jr., when they can turn to these types of guys, and then also Ethan Thompson is a bona fide D1 stud. He's right now I think he's leaning toward Houston.
Yeah.
So they have these guys who know how to win. Amir Gibson and Antoine Good, they're also seniors on this team. So this is they have the perfect mix kind of on their roster right now because they have a lot of talented sophomores that have played pretty much all year long, and they have these senior guys, and like especially when you talk about a 4-year starter like Bryson Rowland, they can tell them, hey, listen, they give them advice beyond what the coaching is. If that makes any sense.
No, definitely makes sense, and it speaks volumes, and you see it out there on the field, man. These seniors, I love what you said that Coach Hyde said there about how the players lead this team. They don't really have to go out there and do a lot of leadership because the players hold each other accountable. And when you have a team like that, that's what makes this La Vega team so dangerous. Outside of just the talent, there's going to be a lot of talented teams playing as they get further and further into the playoffs, even tomorrow, taking on this LaGrange team. But players that hold each other accountable, that show up every day and go to work when it comes to football and take care of their business. And they're good kids mixed in with good athletes as well. Man, you can't ask for more than that. And then you've got one of the better coaches in the state of Texas and Coach Don Hyde out there coaching the La Vega team. So, folks, that game is going to be tomorrow at 7:30. Pre-game is going to be at 7 o'clock right here on 94.5 FM, Infinity Sports Radio, Central Texas. So make sure you guys are getting ready for that. Tomorrow, Ced will be out there. Roy will be out there. They'll be able to take you through the game and pregame and then guide you guys through the rest of that game as well. So I want to look at a couple of these games and just let you guys know who's on the schedule in this Central Texas area before we go to break. We got Waxahachie and Midway at Midway. That's going to be a really good game tomorrow night. That's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Temple taking on Duncanville at Duncanville. That game is going to be at 7:30. Lake Belton taking on Midlothian. That'll be a really good game at Midlothian. Right here at Waco ISD tonight, Fort Bend Marshall and University are going to be playing. That's going to be a really, really good game. University's taking on Fort Bend Marshall. They're going to get tested right out the gate. Even though they're playing at home, they're going to get a real test in Fort Bend Marshall coming in there tonight. Belton is going to be taking on Richmond Randall tonight as well. We've got Robinson and Sealy. Talked a little bit about that earlier. 7:30 tomorrow. They're playing in Bryan. That Gatesville-Madisonville game is tomorrow in Rockdale at 7 o'clock. Conley taking on Belleville tonight in Bryan, Texas. That game starts at 7 o'clock. Mahia is going to be playing Pilot Point in Grand Prairie. Whitney taking on Palmer in Waxahachie tonight. Teague taking on Cold Spring Oakhurst. That game is tonight in Madisonville. Fairfield and Orangefield will be playing tonight, or will be playing tomorrow at 7:30. Troy and Yoakum will be playing at 7:30 tomorrow. Troy is 9-1, finished their season 9-1, had a really good finish to their season. Cameron Yo and Columbus playing in Smithville. That game is going to be tomorrow. Clifton, who finished 6-4, they're taking on Wichita Falls. That game is tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Axtell and Cayuga is at 7 o'clock tonight. Also, we've got Marlin and Holland at Waco ISD tomorrow night. Mart taking on Coombe, and that game is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock as well. So, folks, really good games for a lot of these teams in the Central Texas area. I hope you guys are representing your schools, man. You got something to be proud of in this Central Texas area. We got a lot of good football teams in this area, and this is the time of year where everything counts. It's for all the marbles. It's in the playoffs. Like just said a second ago, it's one and done once you get into these playoffs. So you only get one shot at this, and it's some really, really good games going on, not only tomorrow, but tonight as well. That Fort Bend Marshall University game is going to be a big one, and that Conley and Belleville game is going to be important as well. Folks, we're getting ready to go to a quick break. When we come back, I still have Ced here on the line with me. We're going to talk about this crazy college football rankings that they've got going on right now. And we got to talk about his Eagles because they're playing tonight on Thursday Night Football, taking on the Washington Commanders. So stay tuned and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021. NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Are you hungry for the best fried chicken in town? Check out Crispy Chicken No. 1, 11th and Clay, and their Monday and Tuesday special, the Snack Pack, which includes 2 pieces of chicken, fries, roll, and drink, all for only $6. Also, each Monday through Friday from 4 to 6, you can feed the family for $10 and receive 6 pieces of chicken, fries, and rolls. Crispy Chicken No. 1 features additional daily specials and also includes mouth-watering short ribs, fried catfish, and chicken fried steak. Locally owned and operated and a Waco tradition since 1975. That's Crispy Chicken No. 1 at 11th and Clay.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blasian Asian, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blasian Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. This is live from the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports Studios.
That's right, sports fans.
About to show these boys how we do it.
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis, your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis. We're here about halfway through the hour. Just got done talking about some La Vega High School football, and that is going to be starting tomorrow at 7:30. Make sure you guys are tuned in and ready for that one. I still got play-by-play man for La Vega football on the line with me, Mr. Said Eigerhart. He'll be out there tomorrow to take you guys through pregame as well as the actual game and bring you guys some great coverage in that one. Like I said, pregame starts at 7. The game is at 7:30 tomorrow. So just got done talking some high school football, folks. Got to talk a little bit of college football as well, as it's getting crazy and crazier week to week, especially now that they've added in these college football rankings. I think they thought they had an idea of what they wanted to do, said, with these rankings, and then a team like Georgia goes out there and loses, and then a team like Miami goes out there and loses, and it shakes everything up. Now you got to throw Ole Miss back into these rankings. I think they wanted them kind of on the outside of that, but you have to put them back in there. They got 2 losses, and they beat a team like Georgia. Alabama is somehow steady moving up this ranks. They're sitting at number 10. Miami loses, which I think we both kind of expected at some point this Miami team was going to give out on some of their magic that they had going. And we're looking at Tennessee sitting at number 7 now at 8-1, and now at the top of the SEC. This Tennessee team has kind of fell behind in the SEC multiple times this year, kind of forgotten about, even though they've only got 1 loss. And that 1 loss happens to be to an Arkansas team who Texas is playing this weekend. So Tennessee now at the top of the SEC, still ranked in front of them though. Texas is at number 3. They got a tough Arkansas game this weekend. Also still got that Texas A&M game going on. So, Said, after seeing these college football rankings, man, what is your first thoughts about these top 12 teams, I guess, and how they ordered these teams in there?
Yeah, my first thought was, you would think at this point with the season winding down, a regular season winding down, you would think that things would become clearer from week to week, but it just get more and more convoluted. Apparently, is what's going on here. Right now, we are looking at a possibility that there can be an SEC team and make the top 12 with 3 losses. I've already given you my opinion that this is not, but they didn't set this up to figure out who the best team in the country was. They set it up for another reason. It's strictly a monetary thing.
Yeah.
But you might have a ACC team like SMU or Miami, with 2 losses and totally missed the whole thing. SMU is outside of the 12 right now.
Yeah.
And I think SMU is every bit as good as Miami, just to be honest with you, because like we say, I don't trust Miami's defense. With Texas, now the win on Florida, Texas moved up 2 spots by thumping Florida. That's not an impressive Florida team to me. So I was really kind of surprised that they gave Texas a whole lot of credit, that much credit for that particular win. But they're going to Arkansas this week. And that's not going to be an easy game because, Arkansas beat Tennessee. And, with Tennessee, they finally found a way to throw the ball down the field. They were struggling with that a little bit earlier in the season. But now that they can throw the ball down the field, now they can put a more balanced offense out there. So they got a big game this week at Georgia. If Georgia loses to Tennessee, Georgia should be out.
Yeah.
But once again, with the SEC, okay, I'm just going to say it like this. I think that the committee definitely wants Georgia and Alabama and Notre Dame to be a part of this playoff. I think they really want that. The problem is Georgia, Alabama, and Notre Dame are not necessarily cooperating on the field. Notre Dame only has the 1 loss right now. They move up 2 spots by blowing out a bad Florida State team. I don't get that. You're supposed to blow out Florida State. So there just seems to be some media ballings here. Penn State beat Washington 35-6, and they move up 2 spots. What has Washington done? You know what I mean? So it's just, and then Indiana finally getting some love, but because they beat Michigan. But this is not a good Michigan team either. But at least Indiana is undefeated. But they're down here at 5, where their conference mate Oregon, undefeated, playing similar opponents, still sitting at number 1. So I just don't. There's this clear disparity. Like you can just kind of run up and down the rankings and see who the committee kind of wants to get in and who they really want to try to leave out. Very curious to see what Colorado can do. We talked a little bit about this last week. They handled business against Texas Tech. Now they have Utah. And the rest of their schedule is pretty winnable. If they can win the Big 12, I think Colorado is sexy enough to get in. But then you got Kansas State right there as well. So, and then BYU is undefeated. They're sitting number 6. I really think only one Big 12 team is going to get in, and that's the champion.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you 100% on pretty much all your points, man. You can tell who narratives they're shaping by who they're trying to let get in here, by who's in this top 12 already. You look at Boise State, they didn't lose a game. They got dropped out of it because Georgia lost a game. And they had to make room to still have Georgia in there. You got SMU. They dropped back in ranking. Go ahead.
And the thing about Boise State, people forget, Boise State gave Oregon all they could handle earlier in the season.
Yep. Yes, they did.
When they played each other.
Yeah, they did. They did. That Boise State team.
So to this side, yeah.
That Boise State team, they went all the way down to the wire with Oregon, and they've got one of the best players in the nation, and they're keeping them right on the outside. SMU right on the outside. I'm agreeing with you. They're only probably going to take one team from the ACC and one team from the Big 12. So that means the rest of that is going to be full of Big 10 and SEC. And on the SEC side of it, it's almost unfair for some of these guys in the SEC because they're playing such a tough schedule. Even if Georgia ends up with 3 losses, we said this yesterday on the show, Georgia has played the toughest schedule in the nation. Nobody's played a tougher schedule than Georgia, and they're going to be penalized by losing games, even though they are playing the best teams. And you got a lot of these Big Ten teams, Oregon, they got to win over Ohio State. That's the only tough game they had to play this year. Penn State, they lost in their only tough game that they played this year against Ohio State. Yeah. They ain't had to play Indiana. They ain't had to play Oregon. So the Big Ten is going to get elevated and put in there. And then, of course, you already said it with Notre Dame. They're always going to try to put Notre Dame in there. And we know what's going to happen to Notre Dame. There's no reason to try to beat around the bush. Notre Dame's going to get in the playoffs. They're going to lose in the first round of this playoffs to whoever they play. It really don't matter who they play. We know what's going to happen with them. They're going to end up losing. So I'm looking at how they're shaping these narratives and trying to push these teams in there. Georgia, I'm agreeing with you. If they lose to Tennessee, they got to be out of it. But they're going to push as hard as they possibly can to keep them in it. And then you got teams on the outside looking in, like an A&M. They got 2 losses. They're not getting any love in the SEC. So the SEC is making things a lot crazier because of how tough their schedule has been throughout this season so far.
Yeah, and there's another SEC team that you have to pay attention to right now, and that's Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Because when they went into the Georgia game, Ole Miss had they led the nation in sacks. They were leading the nation in quarterback pressures. They were leading the nation. Tackles for loss, and they were leading the nation in interceptions. That Ole Miss defense is legit because they finally have a front four that can put pressure on the quarterback so they don't have to blitz. And their remaining games this week, they are at Florida, and we saw what happened to Florida. And the last game is the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, and Mississippi State does not have an SEC win so far to their name. So watch Ole Miss, because if Ole Miss could finish 6-2 in conference play, and that's going to be good enough to get them to that championship game. And if they're able to do something in that championship game, now the committee is going to have to omit Alabama or Georgia. I'm just really curious to see what they do with Ole Miss.
No, definitely. And that Ole Miss team is really, really good. They're kind of sneaking up on some people, but that team was ranked in the top 6, I believe, to start the season. They knew this team was going to be good. Lane Kiffin knew this team was going to be good. They had some struggles, but the SEC is a gauntlet. And you just spoke about Ole Miss and their path to making that conference championship game. I know this is too hard to even – there's too many scenarios to even play out right now. But if you had to pick, who are the 2 teams that you think are going to get to this SEC championship game? Because it's just crazy right now with how much parity is in this SEC and how many teams are sitting right there with just 2 losses in the SEC. I think it's about 7 or 8 teams that got 2 losses in the SEC right now.
Yeah, if I had to just pick the 2, it's going to be one is definitely Ole Miss because of their remaining schedule. I think they win both those games. And the other one, I'm going to have to go with Texas, but they can very well stumble, when they play A&M. And, the Longhorns, their remaining schedule, they're going into Arkansas this week. That could very well be a loss. You can't overlook Arkansas. You just can't. Arkansas, they're 3-3 in the conference. They're capable of playing with anybody on any weekend. And so they're at Arkansas on Saturday, and then they have to play Kentucky. Kentucky is at the bottom of the standings. And then it's the showdown with A&M. And at that point, Texas A&M could very well be coming into that game looking to ruin the Longhorn season, because they have a cupcake this week against New Mexico State. Then they are at an Auburn team that's not very good. So that Texas A&M game is going to be big. That's going to be big for both ball clubs, because I think the winner of that game will be the one to face the Ole Miss in an SEC title game, because but they're still Tennessee. Mm-hmm. But Tennessee. They're playing at Georgia this week, so that sets up to be a loss. And then they have a easy one against UTEP. But at the end of the season, they're at Vanderbilt. This is not your daddy's Vanderbilt team. So with 2 of the last 3 games potentially being losses, I think it's going to be Ole Miss versus the winner of Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's the way that it's probably shaping out right now, because I'm agreeing with you. Tennessee is probably going to pick up a loss to Georgia. And if they pick up that loss to Georgia, that's just going to make more teams with 2 losses in this SEC. And then it'll be for A&M and Texas to kind of play for who's going to be in it. And it'll just have to be almost a stab in the dark at that point of who they're going to put in the SEC championship to play against either A&M or Texas. Because then if Texas has 2 losses, where do you put them in there? If A&M beats them, you stick A&M in there. Where do you put Texas in that ranking with Georgia and with Ole Miss and with Alabama, who all got 2 losses? Even Missouri, who's got 2 losses that nobody's talking about. They're at number 23 right now in the nation. So that SEC is ridiculous. This college football playoffs is going to be ridiculous. I still have no idea who they're going to put in there because it's too tough. The SEC is too tough to try to map this out. The Big Ten is pretty much, we see how that's going to go unless Indiana beats Ohio State, which even if they do that, both of those teams might still get in. But that SEC is a complete gauntlet right now, and I have no idea who's going to come out of that one alive as of looking at it right now. So we got – go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think you need to so much be concerned with Missouri. They're going into South Carolina. That's a tough place to win this week. And then they're at Mississippi State, which I said, they're winless in the conference. But their last game is going to be against Arkansas. So 2 of their last 3 are games that they could potentially lose. I don't view Missouri necessarily as a threat. I'm looking more at LSU, who has 2 losses. They're at Florida. And, Florida's on their third-string quarterback. But, now they host Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's scrappy, but it's in Vanderbilt. And that's going to be their last SEC game. And then they end the season for some odd reason. Oklahoma is the last game. And Oklahoma is 1-5 right now. So, if you're going to talk about somebody throwing a monkey wrench, it wouldn't be Missouri. It'd probably be LSU.
Yeah, the LSU team. And the LSU team is good. They played a tough schedule. I mean, some of these teams in the SEC just honestly aren't going to get a fair shake as you look at some of these other conferences like the ACC and the Big 12 and even the Big 10. I mean, it's too tough in there. And you talked about them playing an Arkansas team. Tennessee's only loss on the season is to that Arkansas team. So Texas has got to look out, and a couple of these other teams that got SEC championship aspirations, they need to look out because this Arkansas team is better than what a lot of people think, especially when you have to play out there in Arkansas like Texas is this weekend. So a lot of good games coming on this weekend like that Texas and Arkansas game. Want to go over and switch to some NFL football and talk about, we'll start right with the game tonight. Said, we know you're an Eagles fan, and if you were in studio today, you'd have your Eagles cap on with you. And we got to go right to that Eagles game, man. They're taking on the Commanders, their division rival. See, I should have known. I should have known you had the hat on right now. Anyway, I'm wearing the hat right now. So they got the Commanders coming up tonight. 7:15 is when that game is coming on. Said, I'll let you just break down and talk about this. Now, I had replaced in my NFL top 5. I had to be honest. I replaced the Eagles in there with the Steelers, even though I'm loving how the Eagles are playing. But Wayne was on the show with me yesterday, and he told me I was tripping. He had Philly at number 3 in his top 5 list. So you're getting a lot of love there from Wayne and how he views this Eagles team. They got their hands full tonight and taking on a 7-3 Commanders team. Talk about this game tonight coming on in about an hour and some change. And what do you think is going to be some of these keys for Philly or for the Commanders in this one?
Yeah, well, it's not like I needed another reason to like Wayne Walker, but that's a good one. Thank you for the love, Wayne. So tonight's game is big. So tonight's game is definitely big. These are the two teams. These are the only 2 teams in the NFC East who have a shot at making the playoffs. Giants are done. Cowboys have officially imploded with Dak not coming back. So. Jaden Daniels has been playing out of his mind, and he's the only reason to believe that the Commanders can just keep winning because he just keeps finding ways to win every single week. Their defense is just really not very stout. They give up a lot of points, but because of Jaden Daniels, they score a ton of points. They score more points than anybody in our conference. In our division, I mean, pretty much. I'm sorry. They're the highest scoring team in the NFC, actually. So So it's going to come down to quarterback play, in my opinion. And Jalen Hurts has just been terrific since the bye. The Eagles have been managed to go on a 5-game winning streak. And I just believe that between the way that Jalen Hurts is taking care of the football and the things that Saquon Barkley can do, even when your receiving core is still not healthy, Devontae Smith coming into the game banged up, I think he's going to play. A.J. Brown dinged up, I think he's going to play. But I just trust Jalen Hurts more than I trust Jaden Daniels because, let's be honest, neither one of these defenses are just, particularly stiff. They give up a lot of plays, especially in the passing game. Eagles can't put pressure on the passer. This Bryce Huff experience that we had, I don't know, the guy was a double-digit sack artist with the Jets last year. We signed him to a $50 million deal, and he can't put pressure on me. I don't know what happened to Bryce Huff, but So to me, it's going to come down to which quarterback plays the ball. And I also believe that Jalen Hurts, not only is he more of a veteran, but I think he has more weapons than Washington. I think Brian Robinson Jr. is going to come back and play for the Commanders. And I don't know if it's a good idea to necessarily. To me, it kind of seems like they're rushing him back, and you don't necessarily have to do that when you have Austin Eckler back there as your backup. He's the best backup running back in the league. But anyway, that's the way I look at it. I'm expecting to be a high-scoring game. I really am. This is going to be a shootout, and it may very well come down to who has the ball last.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. If it came down to who's got the last possession in this one, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Both of these offenses are clicking, like you said. Talk a little bit about who I think are the two most important players on this Eagles team and the reason that they're having the success. And one of them is A.J. Brown, who was there last year. I don't think they've lost a game that Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown have played in this year. So him and then Saquon Barkley, man. Derrick Henry, he's going to lead the league in rushing, obviously, this year. I'm still the guy that thinks Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the league, man. I mean, if him jumping over somebody backwards didn't prove it enough for you guys out there, he's playing phenomenal football right now. He's right under 1,000 yards already, and we're only halfway through this season. He's got 991 yards, and he's got 158 catching yards to go with it too. And they haven't even used him a whole lot in the passing game in some of these games this season. So talk a little bit about how that, especially Saquon, how he's really just transformed his offense. We've seen this Eagles offense be good even a couple years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. But the way Saquon Barkley and then A.J. Brown being such a home run threat, they've really transformed this offense for the Eagles.
Yeah. When you let a guy, when you let a guy like DeAndre Swift, walk, you had better have a plan to improve that position. And the reason why they let Swift go was because they knew that they were going to be able to sign Saquon because everybody in the league knew the Giants were not going to sign him. I mean, we saw the Giants. I mean, this goes back to poor general managing. Yep. They had a choice. Do we redo Daniel Jones or do we redo Saquon? And they went and did Daniel Jones, and Saquon has been carrying your team since he's gotten there. There was he's missed some games, but whenever Saquon was healthy, he was your whole offense for the most part. And so they did Jones, and now they don't have enough room to pay Saquon, and they're going to have to let him walk. I knew when we signed Saquon Barkley, I said that right there, that single move right there, that's going to make sure that we are guaranteed to make the playoffs next year. I already knew that. I knew that as soon as they signed him because what Saquon Barkley is, and like you say, Derrick Henry is super effective. Alvin Kamara is super effective. But I think Saquon, CMC when he's healthy, he's very effective. But I think Saquon Barkley, when healthy, is still the best running back in the NFL. And, just because his athleticism is off the charts. And you can use him in the passing game. He has he's a very good receiver out the backfield. So I was like, so he brings that that dual dynamic to the table. And this was already a pretty good Eagle defense. I mean, offense, before Saquon got there. So if you upgrade that running back position by bringing in Saquon, I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a team that's going to be tough to stop offensively. I did not know that we would struggle the way that we have our defense, and that's something that's going to have to be rebuilt. Our front seven is not very good, and our secondary is not as good as it was last year. Where Cooper DeJean is making some strides out there at corner, but when we got too many guys on our defense who just kind of lack speed. Zach Bond at linebacker, Josh Sweat, Quinyon Mitchell. We just not enough guys who are explosive back there on defense to make a lot of plays or even be in a position to make plays. So that's going to definitely be a concern all year long. But the way that you can back that is you just score more points than the other team. And guys like Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown. Listen, A.J. Brown missed a few games, but when A.J. Brown, like you say, when A.J. Brown and David Hurst play together, that's 99 times out of 100, that's a game Philadelphia's going to win because they're just going to put more points up than you do.
No, I agree. When those two get together, that's one of the better QB receiver relationships and duos that we have in the league, man. Those guys, they know where each other are at on the field. Jalen Hurts knows how to find 11 if he can't find anybody else out there in the field. So they're taking on Washington tonight. I know Ced's got Philly in this game. I got Philly in this game as well, too. It's sitting there at home. Philly's a 4-point favorite in this game. I'm not mad at that. I think Philly takes care of this game. Ced, right before we let you go, 2 quick games I want to get your opinion on.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, I was going to say, no. I was going to say you're talking about the line. I do have Philly in the game, but if for all the betting people out there, Washington +4 is not bad.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. That's not a bad bet at all because it's an NFC East. This is a rivalry game. It's a Thursday night game. We know how these Thursday nights goes. We just seen that thriller that we got last Thursday night with Baltimore and Cincinnati. And when those division games get together on these Thursday nights, man, it's tough. So I wouldn't be mad at that at all if you took Washington +4 in the points, even though we both think Philly's going to get a win in that. But real quick before we let you go, 2 games I want to get your opinion on who you got winning in these. You got the Steelers in Baltimore first. They're playing in Pittsburgh. Baltimore is a 3-point favorite in this game. Right now, this would be for first place in the AFC North. Both of these teams doing great so far this season, and they play for the first time this year. They play again right before the end of the season. They play for the first time this year. Baltimore 3-point favorite in that game. And the second game I want to ask you about is Kansas City versus Buffalo. Buffalo's 8-2. Been playing phenomenal football. Josh Allen's been playing like an MVP candidate besides last week where he didn't throw a touchdown and threw 2 really dumb picks against the Colts. They're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, and Kansas City's undefeated. Buffalo, we know how good Josh Allen plays against Kansas City every time they play against each other. Right now, Buffalo is a 2-point favorite in this game over Kansas City, which I think is crazy. Kansas City's undefeated, and we just saw the kind of week that Buffalo had last week. So those are 2 games I wanted to ask you about. Who do you got in those games?
Well, let's start with Ravens Steelers. I think that's probably the best game on the schedule. To be honest with you, it's in Pittsburgh. Baltimore to me is the most complete team in the NFL, but they continue to struggle defensively. Something about Baltimore, they seem to lack a killer instinct. They just can't put teams away, and they'll let teams kind of hang around enough to stage these comeback attempts on them. Pittsburgh, hottest team in the league right now. Russell Wilson looks like the old let Russ cook guy. And so, this is going to be, a fairly low scoring game just because I think that we know Pittsburgh can run the ball. We know Baltimore can run the ball. And I don't think either team is eager to just put the ball in the air like that. Especially not Baltimore. Lamar is playing out of his mind. He's definitely having an MVP type season, but If you ask me to pick, I understand why Baltimore is favored on the road, but I think that this is the game that Pittsburgh is going to win just because of the fact that for some inexplicable reason, I don't understand why Baltimore's defense just kind of goes to sleep in the fourth quarter of ball games.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I don't know what's going on with that defense out there in Baltimore. That's been their calling card.
Yeah. They've definitely been their calling card. Not so much this season. And then Kansas City, Buffalo. It's in Buffalo, and so we know what that environment is going to be like. And Josh Allen is having a great year as well. But this is not a Kansas City team that dominates anybody. So if you talk, you were talking about them being 9-0. I don't know if this is even a real thing, but they're a soft 9-0, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But the thing about the Chiefs is they just always find they just always find a way to win these ball games. You gotta if in order to beat the Chiefs, you gotta put them away early. You gotta jump on them early, and you gotta keep your foot on their neck, because if 15 has any type of chance to make a play at the end of the game, he's going to make that play, and they're going to win.
Yeah. I mean, it's that simple. If you give this team a chance to be at the end of the game, and the game is close, whether that's overtime like the Bucs, or whether that's a game-winning drive like we've seen with him against the 49ers in the Super Bowl, Mahomes is going to make that play. I don't care if they got 6 points the whole game. If the score is 6-10 and Kansas City got the ball, Kansas City finna go win that game. And we've seen it time and time again. They just find a way to go out there and win. So those are the top games on the Sunday slate. That Kansas City and Buffalo game at 3 o'clock. The 12 o'clock game, which I don't know how that's not the Sunday night football game with Baltimore and the Steelers, but they play at 12 o'clock earlier in the day. So Eagles and Commanders getting ready to come on in about an hour and some change. So make sure you guys are getting ready for that. Sid, want to thank you for coming on here with us. He's going to be doing pregame for La Vega football next week. Tomorrow he'll be doing the pregame. Go ahead, Sid.
No, I was saying before I let you go, do I need to ask you about Texans Cowboys on Monday night? Or?
Yeah, you don't have to ask me about that, man. Hey, if we find a way to lose to the Cowboys, I'm not speaking about the Texans no more this year. We find a way to lose that game, so you ain't even got to worry about it. We got to go to break here, folks. We're up against it. Said, appreciate you coming on. Tomorrow is pregame starts at 7 o'clock. The La Vega game is at 7:30 as they're playing in Pflugerville. That game is tomorrow. You can listen to it right here on 94.5 FM. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we got to talk some NBA and then talk about the rest of these games in Week 11. Stay tuned and stay locked in. You're listening and watching Centex Primetime here on Centex Sports Network.
Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis.
6895.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blazing Asian, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blazing Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
The East Waco Empowerment Project, along with City Center Waco, is hosting WeBo, Workshop in Business Opportunity, to help create more entrepreneurs. Business owners like Aniceto Charles of True Jamaica Restaurant and Carla Dotson of Boardwalk on Elm attended WeBo to develop their business ideas into successful Black-owned businesses right in the heart of East Waco. WeBo can also help you turn your side hustle or business idea into the next thriving Black-owned business in our community. If you would like to attend this 10-week intense entrepreneurial workshop, go to WeBoWaco.org. That's WIBO Waco.org.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Holy Jesus. What is that?
It's time to get in the game.
Do you know what time it is?
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis.
To me, you are nothing.
Your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Start it up, let's go.
Catch us Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday Eve. Welcome back into Centex Sports Network, Centex Primetime. I'm your host, Jalen Gillis. We take you through the primetime topics in sports, not only just in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with me so far here today. Just got done having the play-by-play man for La Vega High School football on here, as La Vega will be taking on LaGrange tomorrow. That pregame show will be right here at 7 o'clock on 94.5 FM, also on Infinity Sports Radio Central Texas. Also, the game will start at 7:30. A lot of good games going on in the Central Texas area for high school football, so go back and listen to the beginning of this episode if you didn't get a chance to. We talked through some of those games for the high school football slate in the Central Texas area. Also, we got a chance to talk about some of the college football rankings and how crazy of a job that this committee is going to have moving forward as they're trying to decipher who's going to be in this top 12. The SEC probably deserves to have about 6 teams in there. I'm not going to lie. They're just playing each other. They're better than a lot of these Big Ten teams that are in there. I'm not really sold on any Big Ten team at this point. The SEC is just so tough. They're kind of all just taking each other out in that. So we got a chance to talk about that college football playoff ranking. And we talked a little bit about the Eagles and the Commanders and their game tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that later as we finish out the final hour of the show here today. Folks, as always, make sure you're going over to the YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Also click the bell so you can get notified when we go live here 5 to 7 p.m. weekdays. Also download the app Centex Sports 1 on your mobile device so you can listen to this on Infinity Sports Radio from wherever you're at, whether that's at home, at work, on your way back from work, wherever you're at, you can listen to it. Download the app, Centex Sports 1. Well, folks, we are in 10 games, 10, 12 games into this NBA season now. We talked about it a little bit last week, and it's too early to start trying to figure out who these teams are. We're getting a little bit more of a look, though, into some of these teams and what they are and who they are. So, got to start in the West last night. Los Angeles Lakers took on the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant, I will add. They played without Ja Morant in that game. But the Lakers were able to come out with the win in that game. The old man Bron, Goat James, his third consecutive triple-double in this game, finished the game last night with 35, 12 rebounds, and 14 assists. This dude is 40 years old, man. This dude is 40 years old. Now, I'm not going to start up the GOAT debate for you Jordan fans that listen out there with us. I know there's plenty of you. It's time to let it go, man. It's time to hang it up. It's all right. It's all right. It's going to be okay. Michael Jordan will just be the second best player ever. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Peak for peak, Michael Jordan, probably the best ever. But it's not just about peak. LeBron, what he's been able to accomplish from coming into the league as an 18-year-old to now still getting triple-doubles, and he's 73 years old. This is crazy. 35, 14, and 12 is what he got. 3 straight triple-doubles, obviously the oldest person to ever have 3 straight triple-doubles. I mean, the last person that played 22 seasons was Vince Carter. I think he averaged like a point in his 22nd year. I think he was averaging 1 point. Seeing what LeBron is going out here doing, I think Arian Foster say it yesterday on his social media. We've gotten too used to this. We are going to miss this dude when he's gone. Like, when he retires, you're not going to see this again. We're probably not going to see anything like this again in our lifetime. I know that's what they thought about Michael Jordan too, probably. But this is ridiculous. And if we are going to see somebody like this again, he's in kindergarten right now, or he might not even be born. To be able to play this good for this long doesn't even make sense. And the Lakers, with the new head coach, J.J. Redick, who's making a lot of improvements to this team, I got to say. This team is dangerous, man. If they can find a way to trade D'Angelo Russell, they got to get D'Lo off the team, man. I've been saying this since they traded for him. What was that, 2 years ago? D'Lo's got to go, man. When he's hitting shots, it's cool. But when he's not hitting shots, he's just out there. He doesn't play a lick of defense, one of the worst defenders. When he's not making shots, he's just there. Austin Reeves has been playing the point guard spot for the last few games. He's doing a great job at that spot because you don't need really just a pure point guard in there with LeBron because he's still going to have the ball in his hand. As we've seen last night, he had 14 assists. So he's still going to have the ball in his hands for the majority of the time. But if you have another playmaker out there like an Austin Reeves, they're trying to put Cam Reddish into that 2 spot to be that 3-and-D guy, but he's too inconsistent of a shooter, in my opinion. They need to trade D'Lo and get somebody in that 2 spot that can go out here and defend. Because you got Anthony Davis, who's one of the best defenders in the league, if not the best defender in the league, anchoring your 5 spot. But you need somebody on that perimeter defense. I don't want to keep hearing about Jared Vanderbilt. He is a great defender, but he doesn't play basketball. At this point, he ain't played in 2 years. I don't know, what he's doing out there. At this point, we're just looking for the sideline fits to see what he's gonna have because we know he can dress. But basketball is not the thing with Vanderbilt. Obviously, at this point, he stays hurt. So they need somebody in that spot. Cam Reddish can defend. I like Cam Reddish as a defender. Way too streaky as a shooter. Way, way, way too streaky. So you need a J.R. Smith type of player to be in that role that LeBron won a championship with. You need a Danny Green, somebody like that LeBron won a championship. You need somebody of that ilk to be in that role. Somebody that can knock down 3-pointers, but can go out there and play defense. You've got a big man down there like Anthony Davis that's going to protect the rim, that can switch out on 5s. I think Rui is serviceable. He's not a great defender, but he's athletic enough to get in somebody's way. 19 points from Rui, by the way, last night, too. Rui's been playing better since this coaching change with J.J. Redick. He's opened up this offense so much for the Los Angeles Lakers. It's really exciting to see them be able to go out here and play like this. They've been doing a great job. He's been doing a great job. They just got to find a way to play some better defense. I like what they got out of their backup 5 minutes last night with Christian Koloko as well. Koloko was somebody I thought was going to end up being a pretty decent player when he was out there with the Raptors, a decent defender. He found a way to just hang around in that dunker spot last night. If he does that, that's what they need. Gabe Vincent, he got to go. 0 for 6. Didn't play all last year, and when he got in the game in the playoffs, all he did was brick. He's got to go. You paid him. It didn't work out. It is what it is. Some of those Miami Heat guys, they only play good in Miami. I don't know what that is, but ship him back to Miami. The Lakers don't need him. Dalton Connect is going to be the bright spot. I would say start him in that 2 spot, but they need a defender. I'm not ready to stick Dalton Connect out there on everybody's best player. I'm not ready to stick Dalton Connect out there on Ja Morant. I'm not ready to stick him out there against Devin Booker. Come on, man. That's lunch. You stick him out there on one of those dudes. So you need a bona fide defender at that wing spot, at that 2 spot, because your wings are already getting taken up. Your forward spots already being taken up by Rui and Braun. So it's got to be the 2 guard. Austin Reeves has been playing really good basketball since J.J. Redick has taken over as his coach. So I like him at the point spot. But you need a defender. The Lakers find a way to trade D'Lo and get a defender. They can be dangerous. And maybe you tack Gabe Vincent on in that if somebody wants to be crazy enough to take him, because he's just out there taking up space at this point. They got to find a couple of different pieces on here, and this Laker team can be scary. I like Connect off the bench. 19 points yesterday, 5 for 5 from threes. Braun said it looked like he was back at Tennessee, and it did. He can hoop. I was excited when they drafted him because I watched him play when he's at Tennessee. Dude can hoop. He's gonna be a great addition for the Lakers. I know everybody talks about Bronny and them drafting him, but they did draft somebody good in that first round of Dalton Connect. So, I'm excited to see what he can do with that team and what he's already doing with this team. They got to find some defense out there. For the Grizzlies, I think the Grizzlies are going to be straight. I think this last couple years, or especially this last year without Ja being out there, they found a lot of guys they can have out there on that bench. They found a Scottie Pippen Jr. who's going to be a good player for this team. He got a chance to play last year when they were just running out any lineups. Aldama turned out to be a pretty good player. He's been in their system for a few years. He's been playing some good basketball. They still got Marcus Smart out there. Still got Luke Kennard off the bench. I like what they got out there. Once they get Desmond Bane and Ja back, the Grizzlies are going to be tough. It's one of those teams everybody forgot about. We're such a microwave generation type of people now. We just only what we saw last is what's good, and we kind of just forgot about how good Memphis was before they got hurt. When they lost to Braun and the Lakers a couple years ago, I think they were the number 2 seed. Memphis can play. Once they get healthy, they'll be able to play. This West is loaded. OKC sitting at the top of the West right now. They're the best team in the West. I think they're going to finish with the best record in the West like they did last year. And they're not even healthy. They're 10-2 right now. And it's just Shea and J-Dub out there, Jalen Williams out there for them. And they've been playing good basketball. Chet Holmgren just got hurt. He's going to miss some time, probably miss a couple of weeks. Shea's averaging 28 points a game. Last night when they beat the Pelicans, J-Dub had 31 points. I mean, this team is talented. They keep adding talent to this already talented roster. Once they get healthy, they're going to be even scarier. The Phoenix Suns have made, in my opinion, the biggest leap. And I know it's early in the season, but if they can stay healthy, they're going to be tough. They lost last night to the Kings, but they weren't playing like anybody. I don't think KD played. I think Book is the only one that played out there. KD didn't play in that game. Bradley Beal didn't play in that game either. So this Phoenix team is going to be good. The addition of Tyus Jones was huge. They needed a point guard. You can't just stick Bradley Beal and Booker out there and just say, somebody be the point guard. It don't work like that. They need somebody to actually be a point guard. Tyus Jones has had one of the best assist-to-turnover ratios in NBA history. Not just last season or the last couple seasons. NBA history. Last night, 10 points, 8 assists, 0 turnovers. That's what he brings to this team. And when you stick him out there and Booker, now they're going to be small. I think that's going to be their problem. I would like to see them go and get another wing defender. They got Royce O'Neal out there. They drafted Jalen Bridges. I don't think he's ready for that. Josh Okogie played really good last night. But he's not reliable in the playoffs because they're going to leave him on the island and make him have to be a three-point shooter. They could find a good 3-and-D defensive player, and Josh Okogie's like 6'3" or 6'4". They need somebody a little bit taller. They got some good wings. Royce O'Neal, still serviceable in this league. Grayson Allen, he's not a defender, but still serviceable in this league. They got Monty Morris coming off the bench at another point guard spot. Phoenix is good. I'm excited to see how Phoenix is going to be doing this season. They're good. Yeah, I don't think it's a fluke that they're at 9-3 and that they're at the top of the Western Conference right now. And that West is a gauntlet. Half those teams I just named are in the same division. And the other one is Golden State, who's sitting at 9-2. I thought Golden State would take a step back, not just because of Klay, but it's because they're getting older. They've taken a step up. They took that money that they were going to pay Klay and they spread it out to a couple different people. They were able to go get a Buddy Hield who's been playing really good basketball. Steph can still take over a game like we just saw him do against the Mavericks the other day. He can still take over a game at any moment. The best shooter to ever pick up a basketball. We all know that. Buddy's been playing good. Kuminga, I think they got to give him a little bit more of a role. They got him coming off the bench right now, and I get it. But, man, he got to play starting minutes. Kuminga can hoop. Draymond Green still doing what Draymond Green does. And they're getting production out of the young guys they brought up in this system. The Pajinski kid, they're getting production out of him. Moses Moody, Trace Jackson Davis. Golden State is going to be a good team. This West is a gauntlet. I talked about it yesterday. We had Wayne Walker on the show with us. Talked about the Denver Nuggets, who they lost their first 3 games, and everybody was saying, it's a wrap for Denver. They're finally going to start falling off. Now they've run off, 7 in a row? Run off 7 games almost in a row. They started out 0-2. Now they've won their last 5 games in a row. Jokic is playing, he's playing ridiculous. Now, these stats aren't going to stay, and I know that. I know these stats aren't going to stay. But as of right now, he's 5th in the league in scoring at 29 a game. He's leading the league in assists at 11.7 a game. He's leading the league in rebounds at 13.7 a game. I don't care how many games we've played. That's a ridiculous stat. To see where he's at in all 3 of the major categories, come on, man. This dude already got 3 MVPs and to still be playing this good. And he has to play this good as of right now because Jamal Murray's out. Yeah, they're getting production out of Russell Westbrook, but you're not going to get that every single night out of Russ. He stepped up and he's taking on a challenge. Hey, I don't care who's out here. I'm going to hoop. And that's what we're seeing out of Jokic right now. The West is just loaded. I want to go over to the East and talk about the East in the NBA. Obviously, Cleveland Cavaliers are the surprise story of the year. I expected them to be good. I think most people expected them to be good. Not 13-0 good. Last team started 13-0 was the Golden State Warriors. When they started like 24-0, which is just ridiculous. They started out 24-0. But Cleveland's 13-0 right now. They're playing great team basketball. Donovan Mitchell is figuring out he doesn't have to do too much. You got to do enough to win. You got a good team. You got Jared Allen. You got Evan Mobley. You got Darius Garland. Max Strus is finally playing better. He didn't play that great for him last year, but he's looked good so far in their start. Man, Cleveland is for real. Cleveland is for real. Boston is obviously the cream of the crop. Boston is still, in my opinion, the best team in the league. They've just been battling some health issues to start. Boston's still the best team in the league. But Cleveland is going to give them a run for money. I think they went to 6 last year with nobody. Nobody was playing. Mitchell wasn't playing. Jared Allen wasn't playing. I think they still took him to 6. So Boston got to look out. Cleveland ain't no joke. Donovan Mitchell, we know what he can do in the playoffs. We've been seeing this since he was a rookie. They were saying they needed to trade either Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. I thought that wasn't even a conversation. I still wouldn't be mad at them trading Darius Garland. They're not going to do it now because they started 13-0. But I still wouldn't have been mad at it just because their backcourt is so small, but their front court is big. You got Jared Allen and Mobley in there, 2 really good defensive players. So Cleveland's the real deal. Looking at, unfortunately, at the bottom of this, Philadelphia 76ers are just a disappointment. I know Embiid hasn't played that much. I know Paul George hasn't played that much, but that's the point. They're not. When are they going to play that much? When are we expecting them to go out there and play 30 games in a row? 40 games in a row? Because that's what they're going to need. They're already 2-9. You're already sitting at the worst in the league right now. You're down at the bottom of the league with Washington, Toronto, and Utah. You done dug yourself into this much of a hole. Now Maxi's missing time? Man, I don't know what the Sixers are going to do. They got a lot of potential. They had a lot of hype coming in. They got a big three with Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid, but they don't play. We know Embiid don't play enough, but if Paul George is now starting the season hurt, it's not a good sign. You don't get healthier from playing basketball. Any sport. You don't play more to get healthier. You get healthier by not playing, and that's the opposite of what they need. Embiid's already said he's not playing back-to-backs. He came out and said he was just trolling. I mean, whatever, bro. I don't know what you're going to do. When he's playing basketball, I've already said this. Embiid might be the best player in the league when he's playing. When he's healthy, he could quite possibly be the best player in the NBA. Think about what he does on both sides of the ball. He kills Jokic. Jokic is a 3-time MVP. We've said Jokic is the best in the league for a while, at least for the last couple of years. He kills Jokic when they play. So Embiid is right there as being one of the best players in the world whenever he's healthy. But when is he going to be healthy? If you're battling injuries, why did you play on Team USA? I don't know why the Sixers even let that go down. Why did you let him play on Team USA if you knew he's battling injuries and you knew no matter what, if he wasn't battling anything, he was going to battle injuries once the season started because he's never not battled injuries in his entire career. He didn't play the first 2 years of his career. So I don't get that. I don't know what Philly's going to do. They started off in such a hole, and with your big three all battling injuries now early in the season, man, that's tough. The other team that's disappointed so far, the Milwaukee Bucks. They're sitting at 4-8. Their only sliver of hope is they still got Giannis. As long as Giannis is healthy, I think people forget. You know, we get so used to these numbers, man. Giannis is the most dominant player in the league. Say what you want. Some people, he can't dribble like that or he can't shoot. I don't care what he can do. He can get 50. We watched him get 50 in a closeout game in the NBA Finals. That's the same Giannis. We just watched him get 59 last night with nobody playing. Dame didn't play. Chris Middleton's still hurt. Yeah, they're playing the Pistons, and the Pistons are a scrappy team. They're actually playing a lot better than what most people are used to seeing the Pistons. You just think the Pistons and think, worst team in the league. No, this Pistons team is better, which, I mean, they should be. That after so many top 5 picks in every single season, adding in people, they added Tobias Harris and Malik Beasley, and they've shown to make a big difference. But we just watched Giannis get 59 last night. When he wants to be dominant, which is most of the time, that's what he's going to be. If they can just get healthy, I've already came out and said I don't like their coaching. It's Doc Rivers. I'm not a fan of Doc Rivers as a coach. I think he's a great dude. Not a fan of him as a coach. I think he's underachieved at every single stop he's been at, including Boston where he won a championship. How you got a team like that and can only win one? Even though they parade around like that team won 6 championships or something, they got one. He goes to the Clippers, underachieves. Can't win with the best roster in the league. Goes to Philly, underachieves. Finds a way to finagle his way into a head coaching job in the Milwaukee Bucks after he was supposed to be a consultant. Underachieves. But they still got Giannis, man. As long as you got Giannis, you got a chance to do something. Still early in the season. They got plenty of time to try to come back. Giannis is leading the league in scoring. Obviously, he just had 59 last night. But he was the league leader, or right there for league leader in scoring last year. So there's no shock there. He was right behind Luka in scoring last year. He averaged 30. Right now, averaging 33. He's going to average 30 again. He's averaging 12 boards a game. And his passing has gotten way better. For everybody that says he doesn't have any skill, he's become a much, much better passer. A much better passer. He's a triple-double threat pretty much every single night. And he's also a threat to go and get 60, like we just seen him do. And a couple games before that, he had 45. So Giannis is still Giannis, man. I don't know if people forgot or if they're, obviously the Bucks are sorry, but I don't see Giannis's name come up enough, in my opinion, in these top 5 talks they're always naming off these people. I don't know how we're forgetting about Giannis, how y'all are forgetting about Giannis. I ain't forget about him. He's still the most dominant player in the league every single year. He's just been battling injuries. I think the year the Warriors went and won the championship, I think that, and they beat the Heat, or they beat the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics would have went if Giannis and them were healthy. So Giannis is still that guy. Dame still giving you 25 a night. They just got to figure out their rotations and who else is going to play, because that roster stinks. I hate the way that they constructed their roster. I absolutely hate it. Brook Lopez still out there. Bobby Portis is not enough for you to be trying to hold on to him. The 3-and-D guys, it's not enough. I like Taurean Prince. He played good last night as well. I like him. But the rest of those guys, I don't like their roster. I don't like the way that their roster's constructed. They figure out a way to get some productive lineups out of there, though. Giannis is still Giannis, and he's still going to be a problem. So the NBA, like I said, they're about 12, 13 games into the season. Still a lot to be said. Still looking to see what the New York Knicks are going to do. They're underachieving. They're 5-6. It's early, but they're 5-6. Y'all got to get it together. I saw Cat, though, the other night getting a 40 ball. That was good to see. And then the West is just loaded. The West is loaded. Dallas is going to finish 7th or 8th, like I said on this show already. You can go back in and tune in. We were talking about it last time. Dallas is going to finish 7th or 8th. They're not getting back to the finals. They're probably not getting back to the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion. Too many good teams in the West, including my Rockets, who are starting to finally cash in on some of this youth and this talent. Sitting at 8-4. Houston Rockets looking pretty good right now. Yeah, we beat up on some bad teams. I will give you that. We took advantage of playing the Clippers and Washington, teams like that, but we played Golden State close. And our young guys are stepping up. The one young guy on the Rockets that's not stepping up that I'm not feeling is Jabari Smith, man. It might be time to look elsewhere when it comes to Jabari Smith, because Tari Eason's playing like one of our top 3 players right now. Might as well throw him in that starting lineup. Let's get a package going for Jabari Smith or somebody else. See if we can improve this team. Or just bring Jabari off the bench. Let him lead that second unit. But the Rockets are looking good, though. Rockets are looking good so far this season. And like I said, the West is just too stacked as of right now. And it's going to be like that pretty much for the rest of the season, because there's teams that are at the bottom, like the Mavericks, that we know are going to be good and that we know are going to make a run as this season progresses. Minnesota's right now not playing good basketball. So far, it's looking like the Cat trade didn't work out in their favor. It's not looking like it worked in either team's favor, honestly. But it's still early. I just don't like that. It looks like they've regressed defensively with the Timberwolves. That doesn't make any sense. I'm looking at Gobert. You just 4-time defensive player of the year. You need to be anchoring this defense. They don't have enough. With you in the lineup, they don't have enough on offense to be able to outscore teams. They got to stop some guys. They got Jaden McDaniels, one of the best defenders in the league. They got Gobert down there. Anthony Edwards can lock up when he needs to. They got to start stopping people. Their defense hasn't been as good as what it needs to be, because they need it to be really good, because they don't have enough on offense in that starting lineup. It's Ant out there, and now you take away Cat. If Julius Randle not getting 25, they don't have enough scoring options. I think they need to get Dillingham more in the fold there. They drafted him, or they traded for him on draft night. I think they need to get him more acclimated into that offense, because right now Timberwolves just lost back-to-back games to Portland. That's not good enough. You can't be losing to Portland. No one expects Portland to win. Shout out Chauncey Billups. No one expects Portland to do anything this year, to even make the playoffs. You can't lose back-to-back games to Portland. Obviously, I got faith in Anthony Edwards, but the rest of those guys are going to definitely have to step it up. Folks, we're going to take one last break here on Centex Primetime. When we come back, going to talk about these games for this Week 11 in the NFL. We talked about a few of them earlier in hour number 1 with said. Want to talk about this Chiefs and Bills game. We'll talk about this Steelers and Ravens game. Talk a little bit more about this game tonight, the Commanders and Eagles. That's going to mean a lot for the standings in that NFC East. So stay tuned and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blaze Nation, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blazing Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency and your go-to source for all things audio and video. Is your church long overdue for audio and video upgrades? Call Lighthouse Streaming for a free consultation. Does your corporate or church event need audio or video production? Don't stress. Call the guys at Lighthouse Streaming. In business since 2017, Lighthouse Streaming has produced hundreds of live events and completed dozens of church and venue installations. Whatever your AV needs are, Lighthouse Streaming has you covered. Give them a call at 254-252-4206. That's 254-252-4206. Or go to lighthousestreaming.com and set up your free consultation.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
Are you hungry for the best fried chicken in town? Check out Crispy Chicken #1, 11th and Clay, and their Monday and Tuesday special, the Snack Pack, which includes 2 pieces of chicken, fries, roll, and drink, all for only $6. Also, each Monday through Friday from 4 to 6, you can feed the family for $10 and receive 6 pieces of chicken, fries, and rolls. Crispy Chicken #1 features additional daily specials and also includes mouth-watering short ribs, fried catfish, and chicken fried steak. Locally owned and operated and a Waco tradition since 1975. That's Crispy Chicken #1 at 11th and Clay.
It's the family feels for me. The banana pudding peach cobbler make you want to holler for me. It's the candy yams, mac and cheese, beef tips, pork tips and rice, collard greens. It's a sweet potato pie, sweetie. Fried chicken you've been missing, the lemon sweet tea dressing on Sundays when you all dressed up. Chest pie, buttermilk, and pound cake. Cornbread with butter just dripping, always fresh baked. If you need Southern style, soul food, home cooked meals that you can feel. Chicken and dumplings, chicken pot pie, 719 South 11th Street. Sassy's, come on by.
The East Waco Empowerment Project, along with City Center Waco, is hosting WeBo, Workshop and Business Opportunities, to help create more entrepreneurs. Business owners like Aniceto Charles of True Jamaica Restaurant and Carla Dotson of Boardwalk on Elm attended WeBo to develop their business ideas into successful Black-owned businesses right in the heart of East Waco. WeBo can also help you turn your side hustle or business idea into the next thriving Black-owned business in our community. If you would like to attend this 10-week intense entrepreneurial workshop, go to WeBoWaco.org. That's WIBO Waco.org.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. This is live from the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports Studios.
That's right, sports fans.
About to show these boys how we do it.
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis, your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Welcome back into Centex Primetime, everybody. Home stretch here of the show. I want to thank everybody for watching with us, not only just today, but all week long. Always enjoy getting a chance to talk sports with you guys, whether you're watching with us on YouTube, listening on Infinity Sports Radio, Central Texas. However you're getting the content, we want to say thank you here as we made it through the end of this week, getting ready to go into Week 11. Before we talk about a couple of these games here in Week 11 in the NFL season, I want to do a couple quick takes. Last night, we were just talking NBA. Wemby I guess he's not the unicorn. I think they're calling him an alien. Yeah, he need to work on that nickname. Drops a 50 ball. Fourth youngest person to drop 50. LeBron, Brandon Jennings are in that number. Drops 50 last night in 27 minutes. Now, they're playing Washington. Washington's terrible, so, that is what that is. But I don't care who it is out there. It's still the NBA. He dropped 50 in 27 minutes, knocked down 8 threes. They're sitting at 6-6 right now. I expected this team to be better. In the last couple of weeks, they picked up some wins. They struggled to start the season out. But they're starting to pick a couple of wins up here and there. They beat Sacramento. They beat Washington. If they can pick up a couple of wins, they play LeBron and the Lakers on Friday. And after that, they play Dallas. So they got a tough stretch coming up with the Lakers, the Mavericks, and Oklahoma City. After that, all those games are going to be on TV, as most of Wemby's games are going to be. But I'm excited to see what this Spurs team can do, man. Wemby is a future MVP in waiting. A future Defensive Player of the Year, multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year in waiting. Really good player, obviously. If they can just put it together out there in San Antonio, getting Chris Paul definitely is going to make it easier on him. Shout out Greg Popovich. He's been battling some health issues, so he hasn't been out there. But if Wemby can, just play like a number one option. You don't have to get 50 every night, obviously, but he's still learning how to get to his spots, how to get to his shots. He doesn't have exactly just one thing, a go-to move yet, a go-to thing he can do when it's like, all right, we need a bucket right now, outside of being really tall. He can get buckets a lot of different ways, but he still needs that go-to. Chris Paul, any game that he's gotten 11 assists in, I think they're probably going to win. When he's distributing the ball like that, they're going to win. They move their rookie that they drafted top 5 in the starting lineup, Steven Castle. I would like to see them get another shooter out there maybe. I like the Champagne kid out there, but I don't know if he's good enough as a shooter. They got Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell coming off the bench. I think the bench is solid. Just need another shooter in there. One more quick take. Tomorrow, we'd already talked about all that's going on in Friday Night Lights, but the boxing match between Jake Paul, the YouTuber, I don't care how many fights he said he's had. He ain't fought no boxers. And Mike Tyson. Now, this will be the first boxer for real that he's fought. Jake Paul has fought. He's taking on Mike Tyson, who's like 60. So, he's going to say, I'm beating the champ. But come on, man. Mike Tyson's too old to be in that ring. He can have some serious health complications if he gets hit too many times. Thing is, I don't know if he's going to get hit too many times. It's still one of the scariest people walking around on the planet Earth. Is Mike Tyson. So what's going to happen in that ring tomorrow? I don't know. With it being on Netflix and then this being Jake Paul, this is going to be more of a show than anything. I don't expect it to be just a top-notch fight. Yes, he could beat Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson's 60. But if he gets hit by a couple of them hooks, I don't care who's standing in front of it. He's going down. Jake Paul ain't just finna be sitting up getting punched by Mike Tyson. I don't care how old he is. So he better hope this is more of a show than anything else. They asked Mike Tyson, how does he feel about this fight? He said, and the answer just would have tripped me out and just made me start thinking about it. Hold on. Because he didn't even answer about how does he feel about the fight. His answer was, to my kids, I'm nobody. On Friday, they're about to figure out that their dad is somebody. See, when people start saying quotes and stuff like that, and this dude already scary, hey, man, leave me alone, bro. I'm good. I don't want to fight no more. Just leave me alone, bro. So that was his quote when he asked about the fight. That fight's going to be tomorrow on Netflix. So like I said, I don't know if it's going to be more of a show or more of a fight, but I might be a little mix of both. So we'll just see how that goes. So, folks, it's Week 11 in the NFL. Week 11. We're starting to figure out who teams are. I gave my top 5 list out yesterday with Wayne Walker on the show. I had Kansas City number 1, Detroit 2, Baltimore 3, 4 I had Buffalo, and at 5 I put the Steelers in that spot. Wayne had a different list. He rearranged some of those teams in there. But 2 of the teams that we could agree on to be one of the top teams is Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And they take on each other for the first time this year. Play at 12 o'clock. Right now, Baltimore is a 3-point favorite in that game, even though they're playing in Pittsburgh. Right now, Lamar Jackson's the MVP. It's not even much of a debate. It was more of a debate earlier in the year. It's not a debate right now. Not saying that no one can catch up, but dude is completing almost 70% of his passes, 2,600 yards already, 24 touchdowns, 2 picks. Add that in with over 500 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns rushing as well. MVP. I don't care that he's already won 2. I said they're not going to give him another one because he's already won 2 and there's voters fatigue, and that'll put Lamar in the hole. They're not going to have a choice. He's playing football right now. The way he's playing football, they're not going to have a choice. They got a tough game against this Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers team is different with Russell Wilson at quarterback. A lot of people saw the clip. I had him out. One of the first clips we put out talking about Russell Wilson. I thought Justin Fields should be the starter over Russell. But Mike Tomlin showing why he's Mike Tomlin. He knows more football than not only me, but than most people. Russell Wilson brings a different element to this team with his arm. Said in hour number 1, told us that he looks like the let Russ cook era of Russell Wilson. And he's not playing just crazy numbers or super efficient, but he gives them another element of stretching the field that they haven't had since Ben Roethlisberger was a quarterback. They've had Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett and Duck Hodge at quarterback. So Russell Wilson gives them a different element. He brings something different to this team, something special to this team, honestly, because he can stretch that field, especially when you got big playmaking receivers like George Pickens, who we saw 2 or 3 crazy catches since Russell has been a starting QB already. Then they add in Mike Williams, who ended up getting the game-winning touchdown. Another big receiver, a big body on the outside. I think they've got a dual-headed rushing attack with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Whatever one doesn't do good, the other one will pick up the slack. Both of them will rush for around 50-something yards. You'll get what you need out of both of them. Their defense is still their defense. Still got Minka Fitzpatrick, still got TJ Watt, still got Cameron Hayward. I like Baltimore in this game still. Still like Baltimore in this game. But this will be one I'm staying away from. Y'all know I like to look at the spreads and stuff week to week. This will be a game I'll stay away from because this one can go either way. It's going to be a battle if we don't know anything else in that AFC. It's an AFC North rival, one of the best rivalries in football in the Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers. That game's at 12 o'clock. Baltimore's a 3-point favorite in that one. I like Baltimore, but like I said, stay away from that game, y'all. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. Talked about this one a little bit earlier in hour number 1. The Bills, I put them in my top 5. Wayne didn't have them in his top 5, and I get it. The Bills are 8-2. They haven't beat a lot of good teams. They beat the Dolphins twice. Dolphins are garbage. They beat the Jets. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Colts. They beat the Titans. Haven't beat a lot of good teams. The 2 best teams that they've played are the Ravens and the Texans, and they lost to both of those teams. So this Buffalo team hasn't played anybody. Josh Allen was having an MVP-type season until, in my opinion, last week. No touchdowns, 2 picks. Not saying he still can't win it, but he was playing so great in those first few weeks, and he's kind of taking a little bit of a step back. Amari Cooper's been hurt, so that probably has something to do with it as well. But in this game, they're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 9-0, who just keep finding a way to scrape by with wins, honestly. That's what they're doing. They're scraping by with wins. But nonetheless, they're undefeated. A win is a win. They're 9-0. It's tough to win in the NFL, and they are addicted to winning. Winning is a habit, and a habit that they have. They're 9-0. They haven't lost, I think, since somewhere in December of last year. It's pretty crazy. Back-to-back Super Bowl champs, trying to go for a three-peat. I've been saying since the beginning of the year, I don't believe they're going to three-peat. But, man, they're making it tough on my pick. Sitting at 9-0 right now. Still the best team in the league, even though they keep scraping by with wins. I think this is the game that they finally get a loss. I think this is the game that Buffalo finally gets over that mental hump of beating Kansas City. Josh Allen always balls when he plays against Kansas City. He goes crazy every time he plays them. Amari Cooper is questionable in this game. Keon Coleman is out. I think they're going to need Amari Cooper to play in this game for them to come out with a win. If Amari Cooper doesn't play, I got Kansas City. If Amari Cooper plays, I like Buffalo in this game. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 2 points. It's another one of those games I would stay away from. This would not be one of the games I'm going out there to put on my parlay, because that'll be one that'll ruin your whole parlay. So that game is at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Buffalo, 2-point favorite. I like Buffalo in that game. Want to look over to the Monday night game. My Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys, just because we haven't talked about the Cowboys. And rightfully so. They don't have much to talk about. Most of their stuff is headlines. We're just talking about what Jerry Jones said, or Micah Parsons, who keeps saying crazy stuff week in and week out since he's been back, or even when he wasn't back on his podcast. These podcasts for these players while they're playing hadn't turned out to be such a great thing right now. They got my Houston Texans coming into town. I got tickets to this game. I'll be in attendance. They play on Monday Night Football. Houston, a 7.5-point favorite. I'll keep it simple. Houston's going to win. Better at all three phases. Dak's out for the season. Playing against Cooper Kupp. Texans are winning this one. I thought this would be a game that had some implications coming into the season. When I bought my tickets in the summertime, when I seen this Monday night game was coming out. But it's just going to be a game that I get to go down there and make a bunch of Cowboys fans really mad, because I'm going to have my Texas stuff on, and they're going to be 3-7 at the end of Monday night. So Texans versus Cowboys, obviously I got the Texans in that one. You take a money line, you take a 7.5 points. However you want to slice it, I got the Texans. Sunday Night Football, the Chargers and the Bengals. The Chargers are looking to get this wild card spot. Right now they're looking like they've got that locked up. They're 6-3, a sneaky 6-3. Not a lot of people talking about the Chargers. Chargers been playing good football. Jim Harbaugh has changed the culture there. They've gone from limiting mistakes. They've gone from causing so many mistakes when they had Brandon Staley as a coach. Going forward on 4th and 8, crazy stuff. Going forward on 4th down when you're on your own 30-yard line. They've gone from that to just playing football the right way, fundamentally sound. They run the football. Justin Herbert's not throwing the ball 40-something times a game. They traded all their weapons. The defense has been playing good. They've got the Cincinnati Bengals, who are trying to get that last spot in the wild card, whose offense has been playing great. We just seen Jamar Chase put up 270. But their defense is not good. I like the Chargers in this game. They're 1.5-point favorite. Cincinnati is going to be playing desperate football, because they need this game more than anybody this week needs a win. Cincinnati Bengals need a win on this game. Playing on Sunday Night Football, seeing the matchup between Burrow and Justin Herbert. Burrow's playing out of his mind. If they had wins, he'd be an MVP candidate. Jamar Chase is leading the league in receiving, just under 1,000 yards, 981 yards, 10 touchdowns. Like I've said on the show before, when he gets to targets, he's the best receiver in the league. I've been thinking that since he was at LSU. When he gets to targets, he is the best receiver in the NFL. Burrow, 2,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 picks. Justin Herbert, not lighting it up, but I love the touchdown to turnover ratio. 11 touchdowns, just 1 pick, because they're limiting opportunities, playing good football, playing team football. Jim Harbaugh is doing a good job out there. I almost said San Diego. I like the Los Angeles Chargers in this game. I think they just keep going to their winning ways. It's a slim margin, 1.5 points, what they're favored by. So I would take the points on that. Do not be shocked if Cincinnati wins this game. Like I said, they're playing desperate football. Going to the NFC, Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears. What happened to the Chicago Bears? They were 4-1. Kyle picked them to win their division. We all said he was crazy back then. I think he might have just been trolling. But he picked them to win that division. This team was super talented. Started out 4-1, and then they lost 4 games in a row. Caleb Williams, if you can regress in the middle of your rookie year, he's regressed. Jaden Daniels clearly looks like the better quarterback at this point. Some people will take Caleb Williams still. That's cool. I like Jaden Daniels coming out of college. I like Jaden Daniels still right now. But Caleb Williams and the Bears struggling. They fire Shane Waldron, their offensive coordinator. They had to blame somebody. Somebody got to get fired, and that offense is just looking terrible. We had Wayne on the show yesterday, like I said, and he was talking about this Chicago offense. Said it just doesn't make sense. Their route combinations don't make sense. Their field spacing doesn't make sense. So we can't put all that on Caleb Williams. And they gave him the most talent that I've probably seen any rookie quarterback get for a first round, for a number one pick. Never seen a number one pick come in and have 3 receivers like this, a running game, tight ends, and a good defense. And the Bears are 4-5. They're taking on the Green Bay Packers. I got Green Bay in this game. Green Bay is a 5.5 point favorite. I think it could be tougher than that because it is a division matchup. But I like this Green Bay team. I think Green Bay is one of these sneaky teams in the NFC that really could beat just about anybody in the NFC. I mean, they go toe-to-toe with Detroit, who we all think, at least in my opinion, is going to win that NFC. Green Bay can beat anybody. They're going to be in the wild card. They're still sitting behind the Minnesota Vikings, and they're in third place in their division. But they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a scary team in that playoffs as well. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the Denver Broncos. Denver started out the season, I think they were 5-3. They dropped the last 2 games, but they played some tough opponents. Took Kansas City to the wire. Went all the way down the field to win that game and got a field goal block. That's almost like, what can you even do? I think they should have won that game. They played better than Kansas City that entire game. Denver's a 2-point favorite in this one. I don't know about that. I like the way that their defense is playing. I like what Sean Payton has done. Bo Nix has been playing better week in and week out. But I think they're living off the hype of them almost beating Kansas City. They always play Kansas City tough. They're in Denver. I still like Atlanta in this game. I'll take Atlanta in the points +2 because Denver's favored by 2 points in this one. So I like Atlanta in the points. NFC West rivalry game. The Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers. San Fran favored by 6.5 points. I think that's a lot of points, even though Seattle hadn't been playing good football. I think that's a lot of points, especially when you're playing a division rival. I like San Francisco to win this game. I would take a money line. 6.5 points is a lot of points in the NFL. Anything can happen. You don't want that to be the reason that your parlay blows up at the end because they didn't win by enough points. I do think they're going to win in that game, though. A game that, well, you know, I was going to say a lot of people aren't talking about, but they shouldn't be talking about. The Colts and the Jets. The Indianapolis Colts are going back to Anthony Richardson, I believe, after Joe Flacco starts the last couple of games and they don't get a win. This Colts team is underachieved. They had a roster that's good enough to make the playoffs. They almost made the playoffs last year. Played a Week 17 game against the Texans. That was for the playoff spot, and the Texans won. They're still in the hunt in this wild card because of how underwhelming the AFC has been. And they're taking on the New York Jets. Jets are favored by 4 points in this game. The Jets, I mean, they're a disaster. Aaron Rodgers has been playing terrible. The Cardinals were supposed to be one of those games they got last week to get on track. They get blown out by the Cardinals. So I like the Jets in this game still, though. And saying all that, I like the Jets over the Colts. I think when Anthony Richardson is the quarterback, the offense is just going to be terrible. I've seen this dude go 0 for 10.5 on passes. Seen him go 2 for 10, 2 for 11.5 in passing the football. Don't trust him at all whenever he's got to go out there and pass the football. This game tonight, we already talked about it. Washington versus the Philadelphia Eagles. That game comes on in about 20 minutes. Washington Commanders at Philadelphia. I like Philly in this game. Said was on here earlier. He said he wouldn't be mad if you take Washington +4, even though he thinks Philly's going to win. I like Philly -4. I like the -4. I'll take Philly -4 in that one. Or you can take a money line because you know there's going to be a close game. Two of the best teams in the NFC, the top 2 teams in the NFC East. So this is going to be a great game coming on in about 20 minutes. Folks, we're out of time today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us, not only today, but all week long here on Centex Primetime. Tomorrow on the radio will be La Vega playoff football as they are taking on LaGrange. That game's at 7:30. They're playing in Pflugerville. If you don't get a chance to go out there to the game, you can listen on the dial 94.5 FM or right here on Affinity Sports Radio Central Texas. On Centex Sports Network, we're going to have MCC basketball Friday and Saturday. Friday at 6 o'clock, MCC women's team is taking on Angelina. The women's team is ranked number 13 in the country. Been playing great all year long. They got some really good players on that team. That game is 6 o'clock tomorrow On Saturday, the women's team will play at 12 o'clock noon as they'll finish up out there in Lufkin, Texas, playing in that tournament. Then the men's team will be taking on a tough Kilgore team at home at the Highlands. So if you don't get a chance to go over to the Highlands, you can catch all the action right here on Centex Sports Network. I'll be calling those games. Make sure you guys getting ready to tune in for that. So La Vega football this weekend, MCC basketball this weekend. Obviously, we've got a full slate of college games, Texas and Arkansas, full slate of NFL games. You can end the week off on Monday with watching my Texans get to beat up on the Dallas Cowboys. So once again, thanks everybody for tuning in with us today. We'll be back in action on Monday. We'll have the fellas back in here. We'll break down these games that we saw over the weekend. So make sure you guys getting ready for that. As always, subscribe to the YouTube, Centex Sports Network, Centex Sports TV on YouTube. Download the app on your mobile device, Centex Sports One, so you can listen to this weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Happy Friday Eve to everybody out there. Go home, get a chance to watch some of this football that's going on tonight, and we will see you guys next week. Everybody have a great evening.
Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader.